Tina
Thank you.
Cervasio from MSG Network and the Knicks reporter, so I'll be asking you a lot of questions this season.
Thank you.
You've alluded to the great coaches that you've played for at all levels, and of course, Coach Jackson, you had the most success specifically in that triangle system. Where do you stand right now as you become the head coach as far as your philosophy and what type of system you could possibly use with this team and with this roster?
Well, like you stated, I've enjoyed, in my playing career with Phil and in LA, tremendous success in the triangle system. It's one that I'm well versed in. I know extremely well. Not sure if I quite mastered it. I'm sure Phil would maybe disagree, and I'm sure Tex Winter would probably really disagree that I ever mastered it, but know it well. But I've also played for other great coaches that don't run the triangle. And it's not necessarily the only way to play basketball, but what we will do is do what we feel like is best for our team. I love the triangle system. I believe with the roster we have, we can utilize it to be more efficient, to be more effective, to give ourselves a chance to play better defense by getting higher percentage shots. So I believe in the system, and obviously Phil and I, Steve, our coaching staff, as we fill that out, we'll make decisions about style and system and how we're going to play and what we're going to do. But ultimately, we have to do what's best for the players and for the team to be successful. So that's the way I see it. Like I said, I love the triangle, but we'll do what we feel like is best for the group.
Richard Sandemer, New York Times. Phil, can you talk about the process of persuading Derek to become coach, and also, did you have to impose anything to make sure he kind of said yes and then left for another job?
In my press conference 2 weeks ago, I obviously noted that Derek was a person of interest and effectively was rebuffed and chastised by the league. I hadn't talked to Derek, but I anticipated that there was a chance that he might want to do this, having had prior conversations with him over previous summers in which he was making a decision about whether he should go back and coach and what his future might hold for him. I talked to him about coaching. I talked to him about a variety of other things besides that I think he's qualified for. So I knew that his qualities, what he wanted to do, I felt very comfortable with the fact that his experience over the past 17 years of playing basketball with an encyclopedia knowledge of the game, especially the NBA game. I like the fact that he's current with the players. This is a generation that's a little bit different than the one I grew up with. The guys that were listening to Grateful Dead are not doing that anymore. And Derek has kind of gotten into that beat. And he's hip-hop ready to get going with this group of guys in their language. So that part of Derek has, resonated with me. But the part that, is obvious is all those moments from his return from an injury in '91, classic playoffs in which I think we're on 26, 27 the last 28 games, something like that. And Derek came back in the end of the season and shot 60% from the three-point line, and I think probably still holds a percentage record maybe in the playoffs. That team won 15-1 in the finals in the playoff run, and remarkably, cruised through this. And Derek had to spend 60 games out that season, and he stepped right in, completely ready to step into a role. 2 injuries to Harper and Kobe Bryant that almost jump-started him right into a starting position. I think he went out, played a 40-minute game, maybe 35-minute game, and scored maybe a career high in that particular night. that impressed me about him. He made some good, incredible shots in the playoffs. Always stepped into the vacuum of leadership. But more than anything else, it was ability of Derek to speak the truth from what the sense of the group was. The coach can't always do that. He relies on his leaders to do that. And Derek was one of those players that's unique in the ability to speak to the players both in their spirit and their hearts and resonate with them as to what purpose was that we're attempting to do. Not in a selfish manner, but in a team form. And he sublimated his own role to help the team along. So those things stood out in my mind as the qualities for him to come. There's been no talk about exclusivity, and we felt when I got a chance to speak to him that it was a straight ahead conversation with no hiccups in between.